Hello everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and this is the first section of a slightly longer video I'll be making. I'm going to harvest today, pick all of my Morris Burton American persimmons. I'll probably leave a couple on the tree as an experiment just to see what happens when they get frosted, but basically these have got to the stage where I'm happy to pick them. Now they're not ripe. They won't be ripe and they'll still be astringent. So this video is also going to discuss, after I've picked them, ways and means of treating the persimmons after you've picked them to help with the reduction of astringency, either by leaving them naturally just to ripen until they lose their astringency, or to try other processes to speed up the ripening and removal of astringency. So the video will consist of this little intro here where I'm showing some of the fruits on the tree. It's quite a lot, might be maybe 20 fruits I would say, but none of them have got to the point where I'd say they're ready to eat on the tree, although I have had a couple previously. Some of them are quite soft, but then I'll then go to the second part of the video, which will be some suggestions for how to help remove the astringency, and then the final part of the video, which I'll attach onto it, well, I'll try them after about a week and see if the methods of removing the astringency have been at all successful. So I'll see you after I've harvested carefully most of these persimmons. So I've picked the fruits now, as you can see, probably about 30 in all the tree has produced this year. There's only one or two that have got slight, what look like peck marks on them from birds, so they don't seem to be particularly attractive to birds at this stage, perhaps because they're still astringent and maybe even the bird can taste that, I don't know, or they're just not used to seeing these fruits. So as I said, I think I've harvested about 26, 28 of them there. The tree's produced at least 30. I've left a couple on the tree to leave them on until it frosts, until they get frosted, to see if that improves their sweetness at all, because so far I haven't found these to be a sweet fruit. And in the next part of the video I'm going to discuss what I'm going to do with some of the fruits to see if I can encourage some to ripen faster, and also what I'll do with the remaining ones, where I'll leave them to see how they progress. So I'll catch up with you in the next part of the video. Okay, so here we are next with the next part of the video. Now there are, as well as the carbon dioxide gas treatment that are obviously used on persimmons commercially to remove the astringency so they can be sold in the shops quickly, there are other methods which are considered to work, as well as leaving them to naturally ripen on the tree, especially when they get frosted, and obviously leaving them to ripen in the fruit basket, which can take quite a considerable amount of time. So to speed things up, I've got some other methods I'm going to try. Now, one of them is considered to be freezing the fruits. So, and I'm going to leave all of these for about a week. My first plan is to put some of the fruits in a plastic container here, and I plan to put these in the freezer for about a week. I've been told or read that actually it only needs a couple of days in the freezer, but I may as well leave them in the freezer for a week, because that's how long I think it's going to take the other fruits to ripen with the other methods. So those ones will be going into the freezer for a week. Now I've got two Ziploc bags here and two alternative apples, both of which will help ripen up fruits, because they release I think it's ethylene as they ripen. So I'm going to put, rather than putting an apple and a banana in the Ziploc bags, I'm going to have an apple in one and a banana in the other, and I'm planning to probably put, I would imagine I'll put about half a dozen fruits roughly. This isn't dirt on the fruits, incidentally, that's either sugars in the skin or simple deterioration from being outside. So I will be putting probably as I've done 6 fruits there, I'll probably put 6 fruits in each of these bags, with a banana and apple, and I will leave them on my kitchen table for about a week to see what happens. Now, I've also read that you can boil the fruits for a short period of time, and that will remove the astringency. Now, I haven't had time to check up on that one and research that one properly yet, but obviously that's not something that would need to be done for a week. I believe you only have to simmer the fruits for a couple of hours in just lightly simmering water. So once the week is up with these other 2 lots of fruits, I will also probably try 3 or 4 fruits in a small saucepan of water, and I will read up how long they recommend simmering it for, and if it's plain water or whether or not you're meant to incorporate something else like sugar or vinegar or salt, and I think they can also be simmered in alcohol, but I've got no plans in getting a saucepan full of alcohol to simmer them, but I'm pretty sure it works in water. And then finally, so these will, in any case, it's slightly deceptive because 4 of these, which I will leave in the fruit bowl, will obviously start to ripen over the week anyway, and the remainder of the fruits I'm just going to put in the fruit bowl with my normal fruits at room temperature. So by the time, in about a week's time, once these have all been sitting in their various places and we've simmered these either in water or a water mixed with something else, I will be able to try all 4 sets of fruits and see, for people who are interested, which one works the best to ripen the fruits up a bit quicker. So these are going to go straight in the freezer now. I'll give them a wash first, just in case there are any bugs on them that need to be given a break. And in fact, I'll wash all the fruits because if there are any bugs left in the bags, they might, of course, bore into the fruits and spoil the experiment a bit. So the next part of the video will be discussing, when we come back in a week's time, we'll be discussing the hot water treatment or whatever is recommended for them, and then we'll give them all a tasting from the different methods and see if they've lost their astringency or if I get a nice furry mouth. I'll see you in the next part of the video. Okay, so welcome back to the next part of the video, and I'm going to tell you now, this is absolutely non-scientific, unscientific, because maintaining the water at the correct temperature for the specified amount of time is not going to be easy, and there's various theories about how best to what temperature to keep the persimmons at and how long to keep them at for it to work. Now, the other reason it's not scientific is the fruits I'm using here, while they're not translucent or ripened, have actually been in the fruit bowl for a week since I obviously started the experiment with the other ones in a bag. So they've been, if you like, ripening in the fruit bowl. There was no way to stop them ripening further. So what I've done is I've heated the water here to about just over 80 degrees. They actually talk about dropping them in boiling water and then reducing it to 60 degrees and then keeping them at least an hour at 60 degrees. Well, obviously keeping them at 60 degrees, but let me just turn this on a minute. Let's see if we can let's get this up to boiling temperature. And the plan is, obviously, what I'm going to do is, when it gets up to boiling, I'm going to drop the 3 persimmons in, and then I'm going to turn the temperature off. I'm going to transfer this saucepan to the oven, which is set at 60 degrees, and leave them for an hour. Now, this is not plain water. I've actually added a small amount of alcohol to it. I believe you could use vinegar, and there's various articles that tell you after you've treated them with hot water you should then expose them to ethanol or CO2 for a specific period of time. Of course, that's not going to be possible because I haven't got those gases available or any means to introduced them. So this is going to be a pure heated to 100 degrees centigrade, and drop them in the boiling water, and then put them in the oven and see what happens. So while I'm just waiting for it to boil, I'll pause the video for a minute. Okay, so the water is now merrily boiling away. I'm just going to drop these in very carefully without... of course, we're not trying to cook the persimmons as such. We're trying to remove the astringency. I don't know if this will affect the softness or hardness of them, so I'm going to turn those, turn that boiling water off, and transfer the saucepan to the oven, which is set at 60 degrees. See if we can get that into there without... That's in the oven, and we'll leave that for an hour and come back to them. Okay, so time's up on these, so let's get these out. Could probably just about put my hands on the saucepan at 60 degrees, but I don't think I'll risk it. Well, needless to say, they look exactly the same. I wasn't expecting to see any difference. So what I shall do is probably let these stand overnight in the water. I can't see any reason not to. It's got a little bit of alcohol in it, as I said. And then what we'll do is probably tomorrow night I'll try all 4 different types of persimmon to see, using the different methods, to see which one, if any, which ones are astringent and which ones aren't. So we'll catch up with you in the last part of the video when we do the full tasting. Okay, so welcome back to the last part of the video with the results and the tastings. It's been a week and a day since the first bit of filming of the video, since the fruits were picked. Basically, these are the ones that were in the bag with the apple for the last week or so. These were the ones that are in the bag with the banana. These are the ones that have been, or 2 of the ones that have been in the freezer for a week. And we've got the 3 in here that I prepared yesterday. Now these were dropped into boiling water on the saucepan with a little bit of alcohol added to the water, and then they were maintained at about 60 degrees centigrade for another hour or so, and I've left them in the water overnight to soak as well. And finally, there's 4 there that were picked at the same time that have just been left in this plastic container with nothing at all to help them ripen. There's a couple of persimmon seeds out of another fruit there, and I've basically left those in a plastic container for a week, and I'm going to try those last of all because they'll probably still be astringent and it'll give you a good laugh. So we'll better try, see if these different methods have worked or not. So I'm going to flip the camera around and then we'll have a tasting and pick one at a time and see where we're at. Okay, so here's the final part of the video to see what has or hasn't succeeded. It should give you a good laugh here because I'm fairly sure some of these are going to be astringent still. So I thought I would start with the ones that have been in the bag with the apples for a week, because obviously apples release ethylene, and theoretically that's meant to make fruits ripen. Now the fruit has gone quite a sort of a translucent orange. If I compare it with one that's been in just out on its own in the bowl for a week, this is definitely a more translucent colour, and whether or not it's lost the astringency remains to be seen. Let me cut it across first. Hopefully it's not going to be too revolting. Okay, so the colour inside, there's one little seed in there I'm just going to remove. This is the one that's been in with an apple for a week. Looks good. So So let's taste it and see if it's astringent. Sweet, quite sweet, nicely ripened. Maybe the slightest hint of astringency, but nothing that's making my mouth go funny at the moment. Yeah, that's worked out really well. It's got a nice soft texture to the flesh. I'm not convinced these Morris Burtons are particularly sweet, and I'll probably leave the others. I'm probably going to leave the others in the bag even longer until they're squashy soft. So we'll seal that back up. Just expel the surplus air from the bag, because all they can do is get riper. Now we're going to try one of the ones in the banana bag. Let's pull one of these out. Again, seems about as soft as the other one. It's got this this discoloration on the skin. Appears to be just the damp that's caused it outside. They're not mouldy, and I don't think it's sugars on the edge of the skin. So let's cut this one open and have a look at the inside. Again, similar colour to the last one. Remember, this is the one that was in the banana with the bananas. Now I don't know whether bananas give out more ethylene or if apples give out more. Doesn't seem quite as soft to me. Not really detecting any astringency. It's another one that's got one seed in it. There's a slight, perhaps a slight remains of astringency, and interestingly here a seed. Probably been pollinated by my chocolatino. It has male flowers on it. I'm going to clean up the seed a bit so I could show you what the seed looks like on the Morris Burton. It's fat enough that it would probably be edible. Now the next one to try is going to be the ones that have been frozen for a week. Now I've read somewhere that you can actually, they should actually be frozen for a couple of months, but I've heard other people say that freezing them for a couple of days removes the astringency. So who knows who's right. These have been in the freeze for a week. So I'm going to cut this in half. Obviously it's a little bit more orange looking. A little bit more frozen in the middle, and because it's been frozen you can see that star shape that harder persimmons tend to have on them. Okay, now this is still chilled because I didn't get it out that long ago to freeze it. It should be a bit like eating persimmon ice cream. Now one of the things about you get with cold is it tends to reduce the effects of the astringency anyway, because it neutralises the tannins and your taste buds a bit. Pleasant as well. No seeds in this one. Again, I can't really detect any astringency. Ever so slight maybe, but I'm not getting that furry mouth when genuinely astringent persimmons dry your mouth out, which is why I'm leaving the one that hasn't been ripened with artificial means to last, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be an unpleasant experience. If you've ever had an unripe persimmon, an astringent one, you would know what I'm talking about. Ever slight, it's a slight tingle on my tongue, but nothing that's a problem. Now we're going to try, and I think I'm going to come a cropper here. I'm going to try one of the ones, because these are still hard. I'm going to try one of the ones that was put in boiling water temporarily and then heated with a bit of alcohol. I have a feeling that this one's going to be pretty astringent. Had 2 seeds in it which I've cut through, so they won't be any good for germinating. Oops, dropped one on the floor. Right, let's see if this is astringent or not. Now this is firm, so I fear this is not going to be very nice at all. I don't think it'll taste of alcohol. Oh, that is astringent. Not a nice experience. Okay, well that was interesting. So that one is a definite no-no. You can forget the boiling in water. I read somewhere said that I think you have to leave it in the water for 48 hours at 60 degrees. Well, you'd need a water bath, like a professional water bath, to be able to do that. I'm definitely not going to eat the rest of that one. I kind of feel like a bit of the astringency has been taken out of it, but it's not nice. Now, just for your pleasure, I'm going to try one of the ones that's been sitting in the box for a week without any artificial means. I fear this is going to be astringent as well, so I'm making myself suffer a bit now. Nice colour inside. Let's see what happens. Now this hasn't been in my fruit bowl because I deliberately wanted to keep it away from other ripening fruit, because I just felt I needed to try them left for a week on the countertop just to see. Okay, that is better. That's better than the one that was tried in the boiling water. So forget the boiling water method. This one's just been left in that little box on my counter for about a week, and I would say the astringency is nearly gone. There's just a little bit of it there. Personally, I think if that had been left for another, if that one had been left for another 2 or 3 days, that would be as good as the ones that's been in the bags. But the ones in the bag with the apple and the banana have definitely been the most successful one, as well as the frozen ones. Now the interesting thing about these is, obviously let's have another one. Obviously the point about the frozen ones, it's a bit like once they start to defrost, it's a bit like having persimmon ice cream. So quite an interesting way of doing it really. But of course not everybody's going to enjoy them frozen. Now I've heard it works better on Asian persimmons than on American persimmons. I don't know why that would be. Excuse the mess on my fingers. Okay, so quick conclusion. I think freezing them is an interesting way of doing it, and it's a lazy way of doing it. But I don't think that's as effective as putting them in a fruit in a bag with an apple or banana, the good old tried and tested means. I mean, if you've got commercial persimmons grown, they're either treated with carbon dioxide or ethylene gas. They're the two recognised ways of doing it. And I'm going to have a nice hot drink now just to get rid of the astringency of the ones that wasn't successful. The first 2 I had were absolutely fine. They've been in the bag for about a week. They've turned a nice translucent colour. They're not super soft. I'm going to leave them for another few days and I think they'll be absolutely perfect to eat, but you can't eat them crispy like you can the treated Rojo Brillant or indeed the non-astringent persimmons like Gyro and Fuyu. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. I hope you got some interest or use out of it, and it might give you an idea what to do with your persimmons. Please give me a thumbs up. You can share the video if you think it might be useful to anybody. Please subscribe to my channel, and of course click on the bell if you like updates on new videos when they come out. I'll catch up with you all soon. Brett out for now.